Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are unlocking a literal billion-dollar secret behind the art of strategy. And to do that, I want you to imagine something. You're known as the smartest, most analytical person in your neighborhood, right? Well, one day, the owner of the local toy shop comes knocking on your door in an absolute panic. He desperately needs your help with a massive, life-changing puzzle.
So picture this scenario. Your neighbor tells you a massive fair is rolling into town, and it's setting up right next to his shop. Suddenly, because of his limited shelf space, multiple major toy companies are desperately fighting for a spot in his store, and they are willing to offer big money. He looks at you and asks, how do I maximize my profit? This is absolutely huge for him. It could clear all his debts, maybe even pay for his daughter's wedding. So what's your advice? Have the companies bid against each other, right?
Okay, let's dive into this. Your instinct is probably to say, hey, take the highest bid, run an auction, and whoever offers the most cash gets the spot. But if you tell him that, he's actually going to leave a literal fortune on the table. The counterintuitive, mathematically proven winning strategy here is to give the spot to the highest bidder, but only charge them the second highest bid price. I know, it sounds completely crazy, right? Why on earth would you intentionally charge less? Well, to understand this paradox, we need to step back for a second. To really grasp that toy shop puzzle, let's pivot to a totally different, super high-stakes scenario. Imagine you run a small, passionate Instagram business, making beautiful, hand-stitched leather bags. You usually get a few orders a month. But one day, boom, your phone buzzes. You've just received a massive 10 lakh rupee order from a luxury mall in Dubai for 100 bags. This could literally change your life. But there is a catch. The buyer's like, ship the bags and I'll transfer the 10 lakhs the exact day they arrive. And you reply, no, pay me in advance. He responds, well, if I pay in advance, how do I know you won't just scam me? Now, looking at this visual menu of outcomes, it creates an agonizing four-way dilemma. Think about it. Top left, you ship, he pays, everyone wins. Top right, you ship, he ghosts you, and you are completely bankrupt. Bottom left, you take his advance, send fake bags, and you're the scammer. Or bottom right, neither of you budges, and the deal just completely dies.
Now, this agonizing stalemate, it isn't just a bad day at the office. It's actually a classic puzzle in game theory. And game theory is this fascinating branch of mathematics that tries to predict human behavior when your absolute best move entirely depends on what someone else decides to do. Facing this exact kind of dilemma brings us right to the brilliant Nobel Prize-winning work of John Nash.
See, John Nash would look at this Dubai bag deal and drop a pretty harsh truth on you. If the deal's only happening once and there's no second chance to make things right, his mathematical advice is simply, don't trust, don't ship. This is what's known as the Nash equilibrium. It's honestly a depressing reality where doing absolutely nothing and getting zero is mathematically your safest move. Why? Because trusting a total stranger leaves you completely vulnerable to a catastrophic loss. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how researcher Robert Axelrod completely refused to accept that depressing reality. Back in 1979, he asked a new question. What if people interact repeatedly? What if it's not just a one-off deal? So he invited the smartest minds on Earth, Nobel laureates, economists, computer geniuses, to write code representing different strategies. By 1980, 14 global scientists submitted their code, and they balloted out over 36,400 automated moves to see what would happen.
And these brilliant minds, they wrote incredibly complex stuff. Some of them submitted over 150 lines of dense, highly sophisticated logic, all trying to outsmart, trick, and trap the other programs. But get this, when the dust finally settled, the absolute smartest minds in the world were completely crushed by a tiny, beautifully simple program that consisted of exactly 4 lines of code. No way, right? That winning 4-line program was called tit for tat, and its strategy was brilliantly, almost ridiculously simple. On the very first interaction, it would always cooperate. It would just play nice. But on every single move after that, it would simply copy whatever its opponent did on their last turn. If you played nice, tit for tat played nice. If you cheated, boom, it immediately cheated right back.
Then Axelrod does something bold. He publishes the results, completely reveals the winning strategy, and runs an open second round. 62 new strategies were submitted this time. Everyone knew the rules, and everyone knew tit for tat was the ultimate target to beat. And guess what? Tit for tat won again. Even more mind-blowing, 14 out of the top 15 strategies were categorized as nice, meaning they never threw the first punch. Being mathematically nice literally dominated being mean.
So Axelrod studied these results for years and extracted 4 super practical rules from the computer code. rules that can dramatically increase your own chances of success in real life. Step 1. Be nice. Never be the first one to cheat. Step 2. Retaliate. If they cross you, hit back immediately. Don't be a pushover. Step 3. Forgive. Don't hold a grudge. If they start cooperating again, you cooperate too. And step 4. Be clear. Make sure people predictably know your boundaries.
Now, as perfect as it sounds, pure tit-for-tat actually had one fatal flaw. If two tit-for-tat players are interacting and one accidentally makes a tiny mistake, they enter this endless retaliation loop. You hit me, I hit you, you hit me back, literally forever. So to prevent this cycle of revenge, scientists modified the code to forgiving tit-for-tat. This basically says, I'll follow the rules, but I'll give you exactly one free mistake before I launch my retaliation.
Let's move to and see how this builds, looping all the way back to our original paradox, the toy shop option. Remember? We confidently told the owner that to make the absolute most money, he should charge the winner the second highest bid. Well, armed with our new understanding of game theory, we can finally see exactly why that works.
So in a standard auction, human psychology just takes over. Everyone secretly knows their own absolute maximum limit, right? Their break-even point. Let's say bidder A can afford 50 lakhs, B can do 40 lakhs, and C can do 32 lakhs. In a normal auction, bidder A is never actually going to say 50. They'll lie. They'll bid 30 or 35, just hoping to save some money. And because of this lying, the shop owner totally loses out on uncovering the true maximum value.
Enter Nobel laureate William Vickery. He came up with a genius solution known as the Vickery auction. The entire goal of this strategy is to literally force people to tell the absolute truth. If bidders know right from the start that the winner only has to pay the second highest bid amount, their fear of overpaying completely vanishes. They are mathematically incentivized to be completely honest. Now, if you think this is just some academic theory, think again. Look at how Google applies this exact game theory logic to AdWords. Imagine Nike's true value for an ad click is 50 rupees and Bottas is 30. Google tells Nike, hey, bid your true maximum. Even if you bid 50, if you win, we're only going to charge you Bottas bid of 30. This completely eliminates Nike's incentive to lie. They bid their true 50, allowing Google to secure the absolute highest real bids across millions of daily auctions. When Google implemented this brilliant game theory strategy, the financial outcome was just staggering. Driven heavily by this Vickery auction model, their projected ad revenue for 2025 sits at an unbelievable $294.7 billion.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how mind-blowing this math really is. Let's put that massive amount of wealth into perspective. That is equal to 4 entire years of India's defense budget. It's enough cash to hand 50 lakh for free to every single family living in Mumbai. Or, my personal favorite, it's the equivalent of earning 100 rupees every single second, non-stop, for 7,800 years. Just let that sink in.
Ultimately, it all comes back to structuring the rules so that the smartest move for everyone else actually ends up benefiting you. Game theory isn't just about cold math, it is about deeply understanding human interaction. So, looking at these billion-dollar proofs, I want to leave you with one final thought. In the game of life, in your business, your career, your relationships, are you playing to genuinely win, or are you just playing not to lose? Think about that. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.